Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. We will now begin the session. The session is recorded and we will post the session on the ISSO website after the completion. To begin today, we'd like to welcome you to our session with students, and hopefully you didn't have to travel far to get on to Zoom. And I understand that there's many students have to be up pretty late to participate. Now we will begin our session. Next. Today we will have a conversation and would like to introduce you to Xiaolong, the president of CUCSSA.
Hi, everyone. Good morning and good evening. I am Xiaolong Wu, a PhD student in the Department of Earth and Environmental Engineering. And I'm also the president of CUCSSA, the Columbia University Chinese Students and Scholars Association. We believe so many students, and especially our new students, they have a lot of questions about their visa and the decisions of the spring semester. So today we have ISSO here to answer all students' question. And then I will make a brief introduction of CUCSSA for our Chinese students in Chinese. 好，我为大家简单介绍一下哥伦比亚大学中国学生学者联谊会。那哥大呢是哥大学联呢是我们美国以华人为学生学者为主体的一个综合性的非营利组织。那我们在纽约呢，主要是代表哥伦比亚大学进行非常多的各大中国学生团体的一些相关的服务工作。那我们也是主要为团结华人华侨，服务纽约地区的华人社区，然后也是主要目的呢，想进一步的去弘扬中华文化，然后促进中美的文化交流。那我们哥伦比亚大学中国学联呢，有非常多的关于学生的一些大型的活动，比如说新生关怀的项目，以及各大的中国展望论坛，还有我们经常会做一些百家讲坛的一些活动分享。那同时呢，我们今年也会有这样一个常春藤的春晚，是和常春藤8校联盟一起创办的这样一台线上春晚。那同时呢，我们也会经常有我们哥伦比亚大学的创业大赛，然后我们刚刚也结束了一个在上海的活动，是哥伦比亚大学承办的这样一个常春藤的校友会。那在下一年的春季，我们有可能会在北京再举行这样一场类似常春藤校友会的活动。像我刚刚有提到的，我们有创业大赛，然后我们会邀请很多这样一个业界的大佬来为我们做创业的导师。我们也会有这样一个论坛，然后去讨论每年的这样一个当下发展的新热点。然后在这样一个疫情的期间，我们也为武汉做了很多这样一个疫情的支援，包括在纽约本地，我们也为所有的在哥大的中国留学生派发健康包以及口罩。然后关于我们下一期的健康包，因为我们纽约现在这样进入一个新的疫情的高峰期，所以我们在计划当中的一个健康包马上就可以发放。那大家也可以多多关注哥伦比亚大学中国学联的微信公众号，我们将会尽快推送出关于健康包如何发放以及如何领取的宣传。那我们今年也会有这样一个常春藤的春晚，那希望大家能够在我们的公众号积极关注春晚，然后积极的去看我们春晚的线上的视频。Next slide。除此以外，我们也会有这样很多学生能够参与度很高的这个活动，比如说我们刚刚举行的这样一个哥大新歌声的活动，那我们也会有很多关于摄影大赛，也希望同学们能够多多参与，然后多多去提交自己的作品。Okay, so that's all the part for our CUCSSA, and please welcome Dr. David Austell, who is the Associate Provost and the Director of the ISSO at Columbia.
Thank you, Xiaolong, especially grateful for the collaboration between the ISSO and CUCSSA. And it's always good to see you. And thanks again for your help with today's webinar. Also, special thanks to Betty Matthias Hsu who is the advisor for CUCSSA, and very grateful for her help with this. Greetings from Columbia University. I wish I could be with you all in person in a better time when COVID-19 has gone away finally, but it's so nice to be able to be with you online. Before I get started, I also wanted to give a very special thanks to the staff of the ISSO. Really behind the scenes, there's a lot going on in order for us to have the special Q&A with the ISSO director. And I want to give a very special thank you to all of them. Three of the staff members you'll be seeing this morning, and they'll be assisting with our Q&A, which is pre-submitted questions and live Q&A. So you'll be hearing from Samantha Liu, who you've seen already this morning, and you'll be hearing from Maria Reynoso, who's our Senior Associate Director for Compliance. And also you'll be hearing from Gwyneth Smith, who is Associate Director at ISSO at CUIMC, the Medical Center. So thanks to all the staff. You're in China. We're here in the United States. Many of you are also in the US. Some of you are in places around the world. And even I'm speaking to you from, not from New York City, but from a small town in North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And I have family here. And it just shows you the nature of the virtual world that we're currently living in that has us all working virtually and remotely. Many of you have been using the WeWork centers and the Columbia academic centers. And this is a way that we connect with each other, even in the most difficult times. Nonetheless, I send the warmest regards to you from Columbia, from your teachers, your professors, your advisors. We had a fireside chat with President Bollinger a couple of days ago, and he was, many of you may have seen it because it was directed specifically at international students. And it gives you an idea of the warmth of the concern that is being shared with you. And when we are thinking about you constantly and working behind the scenes to make sure things are going well for you, and then also hoping that you can join us in person in the city in the spring of 2021. Folks, it's if you're like me, then it's very hard, I think, for us to get our heads around what is happening in the world. The devastation caused by COVID-19 has been tremendous, very difficult in China, very difficult in the United States, as you know, around the world. It's affected the economics of the world, the political environments of countries around the world, and certainly the public health of this planet. And we are working around the clock as an institution for you to make sure that even though we are in the grip of an emergency that is COVID-19, that nonetheless our communication with you is very, very open and continual. I wanted just to have one more time at the end of the semester to speak to you. I want to tell you about some things that are happening here, and also some new services that we have planned for you as well. There's a spirit of optimism here currently, and we have a new administration coming in to the executive office in the United States soon. And there's a lot of optimism about positive changes that may occur soon. But folks, let me remind you, the wheels of government sometimes are slow, and there are many things that the new incoming administration must address, including immigration issues. And we'll all have to be patient during the spring semester so that we can hopefully soon have some good activities that are happening, especially in our immigration environment and in other areas of concern. But we all will need to be patient as we wait for these good things to happen. There's a great deal of advocacy going on for you. And we've had letters from the provost, from the president, and from many other institutions as well, who have been advocating for you and for international students in the United States so that there can be the best possible outcome for you as we move ahead. Students from China, you are most especially appreciated and concern coming your way from Columbia University. You know that you make up the largest international student community at Columbia University, and Columbia is the fourth largest international student community in the United States, one of the great such communities of the world. So there's a great deal of special good thoughts and goodwill coming your way from colleagues, friends, your advisors academically, and your advisors here at ISSO. Even though sometimes we can't help but concentrate on some of the very difficult things that have been going on during last summer and during even during this fall. There are, aside from general optimism, there's some very special things going on for you as we make changes in the ISSO and improvements. I just wanted to name a few. We have, as you can imagine, thousands of emails coming into the ISSO constantly. And we're trying to always find a way to respond to these emails as quickly as possible. Well, we have a new email handling system. And this is a very robust platform that we're using that will assist us in responding to your emails more quickly. Now, you really won't notice anything particularly different from your side, but from our side, the system is anticipated to be handling much more quickly and efficiently your emails coming in. Samantha Liu, who is you've met this morning already, has also put in place a new software for the students. And this means that you will be able soon to, excuse me, to go online and make your own appointment with an advisor. We think this will be a much more efficient way for you to be able to see an advisor virtually and get the assistance that you need. We're also in the beginning stages of planning for a new call center. And this means we're hoping that we'll be able to have a more robust way that you can communicate with us by phone as needed. We're anticipating that email will be by far the fastest way to get to you. But if there's need for phones, we're hoping that our new system later next semester will assist with that. We're also very grateful again that you're spending time with us in the evening in China. And we're trying to be more sensitive about the hours, the time differences that we're all experiencing. And so we're hoping that we'll be able to expand our student advising hours during the spring semester as well. So it's a little bit easier for students from China, for example, to be able to get assistance at an hour that is more convenient for you. We're having, as you know, and just for me to recap, we're having a great many more webinars and workshops than we have ever had. And these are designed so that we can have constant or near constant communication with you. We have daily communication with you through emails, through our website, and through webinars, Q&As, things of this sort. We're also going to have smaller webinars that will be kind of directors forum. And the directors forums will be with smaller numbers of students who will sign up. And then I will be able to talk with these students directly. And in a conversational style. So you'll be hearing more about this as we move into the spring semester. One final thing is we're developing an international student advisory council. And that will be leadership from all of the international student organizations who will meet with me regularly to discuss issues that are of concern to all of us. Friends, that is basically an overview of the things that are happening at Columbia. Again, a great deal of concern about you and hoping greatly that you will be able to join us in person in New York, that you'll be able to join us in hybrid programs. So we're staying hopeful and optimistic about that. So I will stop now, and we're going to go into a response time related to pre-submitted questions. After that, we'll go into live Q&A. And then at the end of the program, Xiaolong and I will just have a few final words with you. So now I'll turn this over to Maria Reynoso, who is Senior Associate Director for Compliance at ISSO. Maria?
Thank you, David. I'm delighted to be here with all of you today, and thank you again for joining us. Thank you for submitting your questions. I've been communicating with some of you during the fall semester. I do see that there is a 42% of incoming students attending this webinar, so I'm delighted to see that big number. So we've received a number of questions related to deferrals, I-20 start dates, spring enrollment, and other topics. And I'll be happy to address some of those. Related to deferrals, you may be able to defer your enrollment to a later semester if your program permits it. If you are interested in requesting a deferral to fall semester, for example, fall 2021, you will need, fall 2021, you will need to contact your school or department to learn about your options. Each of our individual schools has different deferral policies. So please follow your school or department specific guidance to request a deferral. We received a number of questions related to that. Related to I-20 start date and late arrivals, as you know, there are specific arrival dates related to spring A and spring B semesters, and schools may have specific late arrival dates as well. If you experience travel or visa-related issues or any other issues that may impact your arrival date, please contact your department and request information about your options for arriving late. If your department or school allows you to arrive late, we will amend the start date of your I-20 accordingly. We'll be happy to do so. There's some questions related to enrollment modality for spring. And as of today, we have not received official updated government guidance for spring 2021 term. The existing guidance states that new initial students in F1 status, apply for a visa and enter the US to enroll in a course of study that is not 100% online. We will update the news section of our website as soon as update becomes available. But what this means is that new students who plan to arrive to remain abroad for spring may study part-time. We recommend contacting your department again to know if the program allows it as well. Also, provided the fall guidance is extended for spring 2021, the CVS records of continuing students studying abroad will be maintained in active status. So this is very important. There were questions related to US embassies and consulates openings in China. And unfortunately, the State Department has not made an announcement yet about US embassies and consulates resuming routine visa services in China. And so we recommend to continue monitoring the US embassy or consulate's website for information regarding their operating status. Thank you. And now Gwyneth Smith will address some of the other questions that you submitted.
Thank you so much, Maria. And it's so nice to be here this morning in New York City and this evening in China. So welcome, everyone. Really great to be here. And I represent, as David mentioned, CUIMC. That is the Columbia University Irving Medical Center. So we support all of the medical students, the students in this School of Public Health, and all of the medical related students. So really happy to be here. And I see that some of you from CUIMC are here on this call. So great to be here. So I'm just going to go over, Maria mentioned about the visa appointments. And so I'm just going to go over a little bit more about that. You can, in some locations, start scheduling your appointments. So we would recommend that. And also, this is an ever-changing situation. So as Maria mentioned, please take a look at your the U.S. consulate in your city where you are going to be applying for that visa. Another thing I just wanted to mention was if you go to ISSO.columbia.edu, there is a great resource for you there. It's called 2020 to 2021 Updates and Resources. If you haven't already taken a look, that gives you all the latest web updates and any updates for you pertaining to anything new that comes out that we can inform you of in relation to SEVP guidance that Maria was also talking about, and also any updates that we are made aware of in regards to travel information, etc. So I just want to point out there is a travel information section of this part of our website, and it has direct links to those consulates and other information on COVID-19 restrictions on US visas and entry, etc. So please take a look at that wonderful resource that our communications team put together. So now I am going to pass the baton to Sam. Thank you again, and passing the baton.
Great, thanks, Gwyneth. So as we were mentioning earlier, that we did receive a number of questions online prior to the session. So we are going to summarize some of these questions to explain what is happening currently. As you probably are aware that we do not have spring guidance yet. However, there were many questions asking about CPT and OPT eligibility. We will be updating our website with the latest date that will reflect the arrival, the eligibility on our website, as Gwyneth just mentioned, that's where the FAQ is. So stay tuned to that. In terms of CPT, many students asked whether they can do online CPT. That is still in place. You can still do remote work. OPT, unfortunately, if it's your last term, then you must come to the US to apply for OPT. That rule, unfortunately, have not changed. And that holds true for spring term as well, regardless the guidance that may change. There's a number of questions about SSN, whether you can apply for SSN. Again, unfortunately, Social Security Office have not made any changes to their policies. One must go in person with the emergency appointment, with original letters from your supervisor, from ISSO, in order to apply. Some students are enrolled in the GET program, which is the Global Engineer track. For that program, the department is currently working on a more detailed plan in terms of your course track and eligibility and arrival date. So stay tuned for that. We will be working with your department to talk about, for those who are in that program, how that's going to impact your eligibility for your CPT and OPT. Lastly, number of students have mentioned that they're in a 2-semester or 2-term program that may be ending, especially in the graduate level, and they're thinking about extending through summer. Extension policy still remains the same. So if you are going to consider summer term enrollment, please speak with your academic advisor first to make sure that in the summer you do have a course enrollment as part of your degree, which will allow you for the extension. For those individual students who are inquiring about extension, this is an individual process. So unfortunately, there's not a blanket extension for everyone in the same program. It is a request per student. So that said, more information are being developed and will come to you shortly, either through your department or through our ISSO website. So if we could have the next slide, please. We do update our website quite frequently, and a number of things that we do is to put dates on the website. So please make sure that you follow our website, social media, and also we will be updating students via email. So if you have your email forwarded, your Columbia Uni email is typically what we will use for information. Next. All right, great. So right now we are receiving some live Q&A. So I'm gonna turn the Q&A section back to Dr. Austell, and he will be addressing your questions.
Thank you, Sam. Hi again, folks. We're in live Q&A now, and I'll be speaking to you, and also we'll be going occasionally to Sam and to Gwyneth and to Maria, according to the nature of your questions. So I'll take the first one right now. We have a question that's come in saying, for students who are coming to Columbia in 2021 fall semester, when will the I-20 start to update our I-20 to apply for the F1 visa? Now, I'll go ahead and turn this to Maria for response.
Sure, thank you, David. Yes, so I-20 applications for fall we will start processing them in March However, if you have a unique situation, for example, you had an I-20 that had a spring date and you will need to update that I-20 because you are applying for a visa and you already had a visa appointment, and we will be able to update the date. But to answer to your question, we will start processing I-20s for fall in March. Right now we are processing spring, and thank you.
Thank you, Maria. The next question that's coming in has to do with graduate students. And it says, can I serve as a paid teaching assistant at Columbia if I do not hold an F1 visa and cannot arrive in the United States in 2021 spring? So this has to do with teaching while the student is outside the United States in China. I'm going to turn to Sam for response to that.
Sure, thank you. So if you're unable to arrive, depends on whether you were previously appointed the teaching assistant position or not. Currently, anyone who have previously have an appointment is able to continue to be reappointed. But if this is a new appointment, sorry, my camera's off. If this is a new appointment, unfortunately, it is up to the department to work with you in terms of whether you will be eligible for a teaching assistant position. This is a little bit different for doctoral students who might be receiving stipends. So I would definitely follow up with your department on the position itself and whether you are eligible. This is unfortunately outside the ISSO jurisdiction. This is a departmental question, but if it's related to whether your arrival is impacted, it depends on whether you're a new student or a continued student who have left the US. Okay, so we'll go to the next question.
Thank you, Sam. Yeah, let's go to the next question. This is a quick follow-up question regarding CPT. Is it still the case that first-year students won't be eligible for CPT in the summer 2021 if they've been outside the United States since the fall? Gwyneth, can I turn to you about that?
Sure, David, thanks. So this really depends on your program. For example, if it's a practicum that is required for the degree, then this could be possible. But this is really depends on the program that you are in. But at least for CUIMC Medical with the School of Public Health, the public health program does have a practicum that is required. Sam, do you have additional information for other programs? There are so many programs at Morningside campus.
Right, so the current CPT requirement is laid out on our website under the resources. So what you could do is follow again, like Gwyneth mentioned, because depends on the academic program. Some of you who are in the GEP program have a very different structure. Social work, CPA have very different structures for their internship. So for everyone else, the 2-term consecutive enrollment in the US is required for someone to be eligible for CPT. So unfortunately, that rule remains the same. If you want to read more about that on the FAQ page, it does lay out what is the eligibility and the requirement for one to be in the US to meet that requirement.
Thank you, Gwyneth, and thank you, Sam. Let's look at the next question. I am a student admitted to the dual bachelor's degree program. I deferred the program for fall 2020. If I extended my deferral for spring 2021, could I re-enroll in the program for summer 2021. And let's turn to Maria first with response to that question.
Thank you, David, and thank you for this great question. Because this program does not have a requirement or a required summer, I would recommend that you contact your school to find out if there are courses for summer that will allow you to register full-time for summer. If the answer is yes, if you're able to register for 12 credits for summer 2021, it is okay for you to arrive in the summer. But again, this will be a question for the school, and they will decide and grant permission for you to arrive in the summer.
Thank you, Maria. And there's a follow-up question I think that we want to look at. And that is, if I am abroad and do not have an F1 visa, can I participate in an internship, especially one that might be at Columbia's Earth Institute?
That's a good question. Will this internship involve any kind of compensation? I think this is something that you will probably have to discuss with the department because again, you don't have an F1 visa, you're not in the US. And so it may be okay, but we don't know. I recommend that you do contact the department about that.
Thank you, Maria. Gwyneth, do you have some comments from your standpoint?
From my standpoint, I totally agree with Maria on that. Because as Sam mentioned before with the teaching assistantship, if it's a continuous, for example, teaching assistantship, then it could be possible to grandfather you in that position. But if it's a new position, and it sounds like this would be a new position, there could be some tax implications that could preclude you from being able to do this. So you will definitely need to speak to the administrator in the Earth Institute that you are interested in applying to that position for. And they can give you further details, and they will most likely work with HR on this issue.
Gwyneth, thank you. Sam, any further ideas from your perspective?
Sure. I think that's the key question here is that for all students who are thinking about doing remote internships, are you eligible or need to apply for CPT? That is sort of for everyone. If you have a need to apply for CPT, that means you have a position that's in the US for internship, then you will need to apply for CPT. If you're outside the US and the position that working for Earth Institute is not really a US position, then there's no need to apply for CPT. So Earth Institute is pretty big. They have so many different positions. If it's a position within the US, then CPT rule will be applied. And same thing for all of you who are looking at CPT options. You will need to look at CPT if it's US employer or non-US employer. If you're outside the US, you can simply obtain an internship from your home country and do that. And many of our students have done so, working at their home country to fulfill internship requirements.
Thank you, Samantha. Let's move on to our next question. Student has asked, I have contacted my academic advisor and confirmed that our program has 2021 summer registration and even some courses offered. I am wondering if I am physically in the US for 2021 spring and 2021 summer semester, will I be eligible for CPT in 2021 fall? Also, does CPT require a full-time student status in the US? Let me turn back to Sam for insight there.
Sure. Again, unfortunately, we do not currently have any SCVP guidance that clearly states the fall COVID-19 rules apply in the spring. So in the absence of that, we can only make the assumption that yes, if you are following the fall guidance, you enroll spring and summer, which are 2 terms full-time. You are in the US for both of those 2 terms, and then you will be eligible for CPT OPT fall 2022. However, that is based on the fact that if we are applying fall guidance, if we have spring guidance, that may be the same, then yes. If it's not, then we will start over and try to understand what the spring guidance may look like. So unfortunately, many of the questions regarding spring term right now, we cannot really give you an official answer because we do not have SABP guidance on that.
Sam, thank you. Gwyneth, any further insights about this from the standpoint of CUIMC?
Right. So it's exactly the same as what Sam said. Again, you know, if there is a case in which the program requires the practicum, then it's a little bit slightly different situation. And in which case, I recommend reaching out to your advisor directly. But it's exactly the same as Sam. And the updates will be on the website in regards to these issues such as CPT as well. So you can always find the most up-to-date information on our website.
Thank you, Gwyneth. The next question has to do with a student who has been taking classes online in the fall, this fall. The student is planning to come to the city here in spring 2021 and hopes to enroll in the GET program to be eligible for the summer internship in the program in the following term. According to the engineering school, students should arrive by April 1st. But the program start date on the I-20 form is January the 11th, which means we should arrive by February the 10th. There's a conflict here. And I'm wondering whether the date on the I-20 form could be changed to a later date so that we can enter the United States a bit later, say in March. Now, I'm going to turn to Maria to respond to that.
Thank you, David. Yes, absolutely. The date on the I-20 can be updated. This means that that we will change the date to a later date. And so what I would recommend is that you contact us if that's the case, and then we'll be happy to update the I-20.
Thank you, Maria. Let me follow up. A student is saying that if he's unable to enter the United States in the spring semester and wish to finish the semester online, when is the deadline for me to update my I-20 form?
Thank you. We don't have a specific deadline to update I-20. It's just contact us and then we will work with you and provide the best date possible that you will need to enter the US. But no, we don't have a deadline for which you need to request the I-20 to be updated.
Maria, thank you. The question has come in also regarding a student who does not have a visa yet. And the question is, can I still enroll for online classes for spring semester outside of the United States? In my case, of course, China. If so, if I have my minimum number of courses that I have to enroll in. So the student in the minimum number, we're presuming this is full-time enrollment at 12 credits, but let me turn to Maria again and then Sam and Gwyneth for a further response. Maria?
Sure. If students who are abroad and have not entered the US at all in F1 status for their program, they do not have a specific enrollment requirement. So it is okay to take the number of credits you wish. Could be part-time, full-time. We are not required to make reports on those registrations. And so any number of credits you may wish to take is fine.
Sam, from your perspective?
So yeah, I think a lot of questions about enrollment is tied to the CPT and OPT. So in terms of for those who are interested in participating in CPT in the future and intend to arrive in the spring term, then you must enroll full-time. If you decide that the spring term you're going to enroll at home, then part-time, full-time would not be an issue. But if you plan to come to the US sometime during the spring term, as the previous question asked, can I come in March? The question is yes, and depends. So if you are coming to engage in CPT after meeting 2 terms of full-time enrollment, then there is a time frame where you must arrive. If you are just going to be taking courses and plan to come and not going to engage in CPT, then you can pretty much come anytime, as Maria mentioned, that in the spring term, if you're able to secure a visa and arrive either in March or sometime in spring. So this really kind of falls back to visa eligibility, and also, are you interested in applying for CPT, OPT? Those benefits will require you to either arrive by a certain date or arrive within the intent to enroll full-time. So it's a little bit confusing, but I think that's for those who are not interested in CPT, OPT, then come when you can, enroll for whatever. However, those who are interested in CPT, OPT, make sure that you plan to enroll full-time and come within the time limit that you need to be, because that makes a difference whether you're in a internship required program versus a internship elective program. Sorry, that's a lot of information, but yes, that's how it's different for students.
And I would just add that just double check with your school as well, with your academic advisor, just in case, you want to make sure that you are making progress towards your degree program, so that you have, you want to just double check with them as well if you're going too low in the number of credits that you're taking.
Thank you, Sam and Maria and Gwyneth. Let's go on to a next question that's just come in. This has to do with transfer students. The student is asking, I'm a transfer student abroad. According to current policy, if I can't get a data fix and enter by January, our I-20 will be updated to fall 2021. Then I can't come to the US until August. Is that right? And if I want to choose Summer A courses in April and want to be on campus to take courses, can ISSO provide my document, the I-20 form, that can help us to get a student visa to start in April? Now, that's a complicated question. And so what we'll do is take it piece at a time, and we'll start with Maria for her comments about the transfer process. And then we can go to Gwyneth and to Sam for further comment. Maria.
Sure. Yeah, thank you, David. So yes, so right now we have a good number of transfer students for whom we are performing a data fix with the help with the CBS Help Desk. And so for this specific question, if the data fix cannot be completed, if the data fix cannot be resolved, you don't necessarily need to have an I-20 for fall. What we could do is to create an initial I-20 for you to enter the US. So, so we could create an initial I-20 with the April or another date start date if the data fix at the CBS Help Desk does not get completed.
Thank you, Maria. Let's go to Gwyneth for comments from the CUIMC perspective.
It's exactly the same. We would proceed exactly the same way at CUIMC. So that is really how this process would take place for the transfer.
Thank you, Gwyneth. And next to Sam. Sam, your perspective?
No comments on that. This is a pretty standard procedures. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm looking, thank you all. I'm looking at the next question coming in. It has to do with deadlines for students to arrive to the United States without changing the I-20 start date. And the question again is, can I arrive without an updated I-20 on January the 12th? So Maria, let me turn to you for that.
Sure, thank you. Yes, and the answer is yes. For spring, as you know, the official start date of the semester is January 11th. So it is okay to enter on January 12th without the need for an updated I-20. Usually, as long as you enter within the 30 days of the start date of the program, you don't necessarily need to have the I-20 start date changed. But yes, January 12th would be okay for you to enter.
Great, thank you, Maria. Next question has to do with residency units. The question is, if I want to enter the United States in the summer of 2021, do I have to register for 12 credits for the summer semester, or just need to register for one residency unit without limitation on how many courses I will enroll? Now, just as a reminder, one residency unit is equal to full-time enrollment, but it does allow for further courses as needed or preferred by an incoming student. So let me turn to Maria first with that, and then we'll follow up with Sam and Gwyneth. Maria?
Oh, sure. It depends on your program. Again, I'm not sure that students are able to register for summer for one residence unit. I would recommend to contact your department about that. For students with per point registration, you will need to have 12 credits. But again, residence unit, I would defer this to the department.
Sam?
Sure. So for a few of you who are in the RU setup, you certainly can register for one RU for the summer. One RU, as David mentioned, is full-time status, regardless of spring, summer, or fall term. The number of courses registered within the one RU, it varies. So you do not need to register for 12 credits if you are in the one RU system. However, for many of you who are just credit bearing setup, then 12 credits is necessary for the summer. This summer, we are divided into summer A and summer B. So 6 credits for summer A, 6 credits for summer B will be considered full-time. So RU students, 1 RU, any credits, non-RU students, 6 credits minimum for summer A, 6 credit minimum for summer B to maintain full-time enrollment.
Thank you, Sam. Gwyneth, any further perspective from CUIMC?
Sure. So this rarely comes up at CUIMC, but in the case, it would be exactly the same as Morningside.
Okay, Gwyneth, thank you. Folks, it's hard to believe, but our time is quickly coming to an end. So we have time for one final question. And that is, suppose a miracle takes place and I'm able to apply for an expedited visa appointment with my I-20 with a January 11, 2021 start date, and also receive the F1 visa. Do I have to enter the United States within a month, or can requests for my I-20 start date to change and enter later say around mid-March. And this is a variation of a question that we've seen earlier this morning, this evening. But I want to go back to Maria one more time about this important question. Maria?
Sure, yes, and thank you for this great question. Right, if the student is entering the US in March, although they have everything, the visa and I-20 ready, we will need to update the date because it's going to be more than 30 days from the start date of the initial I-20. So please contact us and we'll resend a new I-20 with an updated start date.
Maria, thank you. Folks, this is the end of our live Q&A. And before the end of our program this morning, I do want to turn to Xiaolong, who is president of CUCSSA, just for some very final words. And then I'll come back to me for my final words as well. Xiaolong? Xiaolong?
Hi, David. Yeah, I'm here.
Just any final questions or comments regarding the students from China on behalf of CUCSSA?
Okay, yeah. So thanks for all Chinese students to ask this question, and I think that would be like very helpful to all of the Chinese students, and thanks all the ISO. So that's a very amazing seminar, also which can help a lot. And I hope that would be like the solutions to useful solutions to our students, and also for myself, I'm going to come back in US like March or April. So see you there next year. Mm-hmm.
Xiaolong, thank you so much. It'll be great to see you as well when you get back to the United States, even if remotely again. Folks, just as a few final words, we're approaching the winter break here at Columbia University. Students are preparing for final exams. And I want to just comment a little bit about the winter break. The winter break encompasses 3 major celebrations while we're typically away from the university. Those celebrations are Hanukkah for the Jewish community, Christmas, which is a Christian holiday, but celebrated basically by everyone in the United States in one way or another, and also Kwanzaa, that stems from the African-American community, but is often celebrated by many people of a diverse population in the United States. And I want to mention also, we're looking ahead to Chinese New Year and this very special celebration of the New Year that is for students from China. Do you know that in every case of the celebrations that we have during this time, there's one commonality, and that is not only the focus on family, the focus on friends, the focus of just the wonderful nature of our family connections. There's something else, and that is the concept of goodwill among the peoples of the world. And so I want to offer a very special wish for you and a wish for us that there be powerful, continual goodwill between the peoples of our country and between the peoples of the world. That is something we all wish for very deeply. And I want to wish you the very best during winter break. And we're so anticipating your arrival in the United States, and we'll be closely in contact with you as we make our way to spring semester of 2021. Thanks to CUCSSA again for collaborating, and to all of our speakers this morning, and have a wonderful rest of the evening and or the morning if you're in the United States already. wish you the best and hope to see you soon. Bye-bye now.